I'm feeling inspired because I don't think we've covered this particular aspect in a video yet. So I'm feeling inspired to just kind of highlight and talk a little bit about this situation here. And from certain angles, like it just looks like a jaunty, like camp flag here on our small cabin in the big woods at Empty Mountain. There it is. So this is our cell booster. This is what allows us to get cell signal, to text and make phone calls, and is what allows us to get enough signal to get 4G so that we can get internet through our phones with data. So we don't have satellite internet, though that might be coming at some point, but our interneting and Wi-Fi access is through this cell phone booster antenna. And Mike built this to get it high up, as high up as possible. And we did a lot of trial and error to figure out where to point it and how high to put it. And we also went through a few boosters before finding that this antenna that gives us enough boost, that gives us enough power. So it's a fairly expensive unit, but that's what we needed in order to get coverage out here. So our first year out here, so we moved out here July 1st of 2022. Our first year out here, we didn't have any cell service. And I work remotely, and I used to like to joke that we lived too remotely for me to work remotely. So for me to work, I had to actually leave in order to get Wi-Fi in order to work. And fortunately, I could just work from our van at that time because I could just park down at the river, which is 2.5 miles away, and work from the van. I got enough service down there to hotspot, and that worked great and well enough. But it's so nice to now be able to work from home, which now I've been doing for the last 2 years. So, but this cell phone booster, super important team member here at Empty Mountain because it allows us to, stay in touch with the world and allows me to stay here and be able to work from the woods, which is amazing. And so in order for a cell booster to work, in order for an antenna to work, you actually have to have cell signal. You can't boost anything that doesn't exist. So for a while, we didn't think a booster would work because we weren't getting any signal. But then, once we started building the cabin, a funny little thing happened, and I'll show you. So we started building this cabin, and I don't know, I was just like over here at this window one day and noticed that if I had my cell phone like perched literally right here, I got 1 bar of service steadily and regularly. Like it was a steady bar if I perched it right here. So I could text if I literally had to keep the phone here and text while it was, because like if I moved it just a little bit, I'd lose the signal. But because I just happened to notice, just coincidentally, I was over here, had the camera here for some reason, saw the bar of service. Because I noticed that and we found that out, it meant like, oh, okay, maybe actually a cell booster would work. So we went through a few boosters in order to figure out which one we actually needed that would get us, enough power to do what we need to do. Now we're not doing big fancy things on the internet, so our signal for Wi-Fi and data usage is definitely limited. It's glitchy. I'm working from home, and it's definitely sometimes slow and strange. My signal drops out and stuff, but for the most part, it keeps up with what I need to do and everything, most of the things that we need to do on Wi-Fi. Although uploading videos onto YouTube, I do have to do that from town. I can do it from here, but it takes a really long time, like 3 hours. Like it'll take me 3 hours of data usage and hotspotting to get a YouTube video to upload. So I just do that in town when I go to Missoula once a week. So that's one of my in-town things, uploading videos. So, and sometimes uploading photos. It takes a little while, but generally speaking, photo upload goes all right. And we can stream stuff on YouTube and, you know, watch stuff from here, and I can email and work. So it's so nice. So the cell booster, you know, it needs some power. So it hooks up to our Princess of Power, Shira, Princess of Power charge controller. And this is actually the box here from Cell-Fi. So this is the antenna, which runs outside here and taps into Shira. And then inside, as part of the cell booster, that dish right up top there is the other part of it. And you need as much separation, like space, between that disc and the Cell-Fi box. And I mean, we have a 12 by 14 cabin, so this is as much distance as we could really possibly get. So the further the better, is the thing with that, which is interesting. But so, yeah, so it has very little draw that it needs, but it does need continuous power to operate. So it's hooked in to our battery system and our charge controller. And then, yeah, that's the other part of the antenna there. So, I don't know if we've highlighted that or not. So it just, you know, it's so nice. I mean, it was interesting when we moved out here, you know, because we moved out here sans structures or services. You know, we just bought bare land. And it was a big life change move for us from living in town to living here without any electricity or water. And the hardest thing that I found for me wasn't living without water or electricity, was actually living without Wi-Fi. Like, I just realized, like, oh, I use the internet a lot. Like, I just, like, didn't fully think about all the things that I do. I'm a blogger, you know, so, I mean, so that was, you know, that's kind of the biggest thing. But then I email a lot too, and, you know, those are kind of my biggest ones, maybe. Usages online, but I was like, wow, this is kind of tough, because the first year out here, I had to like write all the things down and keep a list of all the things I would need to do when I had Wi-Fi, and it was just like, wow, this is just this is getting complicated. So yeah, getting the cell phone booster and finding this one from Cell-Fi, you know, just super great. And apparently, my understanding is that this is kind of like the most high-powered booster you can get without interfering with, like, you know, flight travel paths, like a broadcasting unit. But because of how high-powered it is, it can legally, I think, only boost one cell signal at a time. So we operate on Verizon on both of our phones, so this only boosts the Verizon signal. So anyone who comes here, if they have a Verizon phone, then it'll work in a certain radius of the cabin. But if they're not on Verizon, then they just don't have anything. However, which is, and this is really nice, we can switch it to boost different signals very easily through our phones, just through an app that we have, which is important because my work phone operates on AT&T. So my work phone doesn't you know, won't operate on the Verizon signal. So I have to go in and switch it every time I work to AT&T, and then I have to switch it back. But it's pretty easy to do, and I mean, that's just like amazing that it has that capability to do that. So anyway, yeah, like, just super happy with this unit. I think at some point, like I said, you know, we looked into satellite internet too, and I think at some point I'd like us to do that. just because, you know, it would be nice to do the video uploads from here and have faster, you know, have faster capacity online. And I do a lot of stuff online, which it would be nice to not have it so glitchy. But right now, what is extra nice about this is we don't have an extra bill. You know, we just have our regular cell phone bill, so we're not taking on, you know, the satellite internet and internet bill. So that's a huge bonus. You know, we're operating on very few bills, living the way that we do, by choice. And so, you know, it's definitely a bonus to not have an extra bill, you know, to pay every month. So, anyway, super happy with the cell phone booster. And, yeah, it's just been really nice to have that. And, you know, just so I thought I'd talk a little bit about, you know, that important team member here that allows us to stay connected. Let's see. It's such a funny little flag. Okay, let's see. We'll zoom in one more time on it. Thank you, Cell Booster.